love the score on this. Like the Michael Giacchino, whatever. You know who I'm talking about. He's so good. He did Mission Impossible 4 as well, I think. And he's just so good at those, like the string. He's so good at the strings when he like, gives you that like adventurous emotion that he brings. This time he does the strings like it's so. Don't Photoshop anything in there. It's so good. You know, don't Photoshop. When he goes,
Don't Photoshop anything.
Don't Photoshop anything in here. When he goes,
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Letterboxd 250 podcast. I am Kyle. I'm joined by...
You already know me, Big She's strongest cinephile in the game right now, aka Sheezy DiCaprio, aka Original Heartthrob, giving your girl heart probs. You know the vibes, aka Mr. Married Man. So if you see me, please respect yourself and respect me.
And I'm, of course, joined by...
Simon.
Every time I keep trying to beat you week by week, and I know I'm getting close to cracking you. I know I'm getting close, Simon. I can tell.
Sharif, do you ever plan those names, or are they all on the spot?
This is all improv. I save all my energy on a Friday. I'm not gonna lie. Last 2 weeks, I have saved all my energy for because the films have been a lot more like the films have really. We'll get into how I feel about this one, but they've drained me a lot more than I'm like the other ones have. So I've just been like, I start after Fridays, I get so gassed. I watch Fucking with the Soldier. I'm ready. My energy is gone. I save it for this, and I just.
Simon, do you plan your intro, or is that like a spur of the moment thing?
Simon, just stay in the one.
Can you hear us?
Now I'm back. I'm back. It keeps freezing. My bad, guys. No, I don't plan my intro.
Okay, so after that chaotic start, should we go straight into the film?
Yeah, we should go straight into the film.
So today's film is Throw Away Your Books, Rally in the Streets. Conditions have been better for the nameless protagonist. His grandmother is a shoplifter, his father is a war criminal, and his sister and him have an unhealthy, intimate relationship with the family rabbit. So that's one of the oddest synopses I've ever read. But Sharif, do you want to go first? What did you
I would love to. Okay, so after last week when we saw Pastoral, because they was directed by the same guy. I can't pronounce his name because it's something beginning with S. Do you have his name right there for me, Carl? Do you have his?
It is Shuji Terayama, I believe.
All right.
I'm sorry if I butchered.
Listen, I think he's dead anyway, so it don't really matter. But I watched this film, and it hurt my brain, like my head. I've had a headache all day after watching this film. This guy's clearly very talented. Like, there's no denying that. I'm torn with how I feel about his films. But I will talk about this one specifically. But I will refer a little bit to the last one because his style is very distinctive. Visually, like the stuff he puts on screen, right? Some of these shots are gorgeous, and some of them are so different and weird and interesting. And I love that stuff. I love the weird, I love the surreal. But there's a time where it goes too far, and like I can follow everything that's going on. I understand it was very basic because it's like he's got this plot line that keeps going all throughout the film, and then occasionally he'll just like shock your senses and give you like American flag burning, naked couple fucking, like just different weird stuff like that. And I'm not gonna lie, when I had it loaded up, I was over an hour into it. I was about an hour 10. It was when he starts. It was when the dad and the mom, when the guys came to take the mom to the home, and then she's like, "No, that never happened." Whatever, like the whole argument scene. I felt like Simon. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, "Yo, how can I speed this thing up?" I was looking at the VLC player. I pressed faster. I clicked it, and it didn't go fast enough for me. I was like, "Damn!" I was like, "Fuck!" I was like, "I might as well watch it at normal. That's like, can never be me." And if I wasn't watching it for this, I would have just turned it off because I don't want to waste my time Like, you know, the beginning when he's walking the train tracks and there's like a backwards reverse tracking shot and just keeps doing this. That shit hurt my head. Stop. Like, it physically hurt my head. And it just go, ooh, ooh, look, camera. You're like, the story, like the random gang rape scene and shit is so fucking gross. I hated the fact the music kept going up because I had to keep altering my volume because shit would be like, so what's going on? Like a really quiet conversation. How do you feel? They'd be like, whoa! I did think there's so much cool shit in here. There is, and like stuff I haven't seen anywhere else, and there's so much terrible shit in here that I could do without. It's a complex thing, right? Because isn't cinema supposed to make you feel something? Like, a films are supposed to make you feel something, right? And this guy's films, from the two that we have seen, are clearly films that are meant to be felt rather than seen. The word I love, the vibes, they're all meant to be felt rather than understood, right? There's no grand over plot scheme. Like, there's nothing to it. We're just watching it as it is, but it's so fucking I don't like the vibes he's giving out. Does that make sense? I feel my way through him. I can appreciate it as a work of art. I can if I separate my actual core of who I am as a person, the part of me that likes things and doesn't like things and all that. And if I just look at it purely with just analytical eyes, I can appreciate it as the work of art that it is. But just because everything adds up to equal that doesn't mean that's what I feel. And for a guy whose films are meant to be felt, I did not enjoy what I saw. I was relieved when it was over. It stuck with me throughout the day, but like in a bad way. Not like I'm like thinking about it. I'm not like, oh, I can't wait. It wasn't like I'm trying to hop on here and be like, yeah, oh, you know, I loved it. Like in the way that something like North by Northwest, I was really excited to jump on. That stuck with me, and I was like, whoa, that's so exciting. That's a great film. Soul was another one like that. Like, all the films I've enjoyed, you can tell that I enjoy them. This was a bit more complicated because it wasn't. I had to really deliberate in my head to be like, how am I going to talk about this when I hop on? It's kind of like Taste of Cherry for me, where I can appreciate it for what it is, just doesn't hit for me. I think the way this wildly differs from Taste of Cherry is Taste of Cherry was talking about some like real complex themes and stuff. I just didn't like the film. I can appreciate it for what it was. And I know we joke about Entranced Earth. I could follow it. I just didn't like the film. This, at least I appreciated how it looks. And obviously film is a visual medium and stuff like that. I really appreciate how it looked. I just did not like the film. And I was going to talk about this later in the section, but I think it kind of pertains to this. I rewatched Pastoral this week. I still had the files. I don't know what tempted me. I went back and watched it again. I liked Pastoral a lot more than this. And I know Pastoral, and I don't change my rating of Pastoral. I think it's still whatever the hell it is. Like, it's fine. And I had the exact, and I realized when I watched this, and you know, thinking about Pastoral, having to watch them so fresh, I appreciate the work he's doing from a visual standpoint, and lots of cool stuff. I'm like, that's a cool shot. Like the part of me that appreciates aesthetic, I'm like, that's sick. But these were slogs to get through. Both of the films are slugs to get through. And by the way, I didn't realize about Pastoral until you guys mentioned it last week. There's too much of that clown shit, like at the circus. You know, like look at the camera. You don't realize when you're watching it, but like going back, and I remember you guys were talking about it. I was like, oh shit, there's a lot of this. There's a lot of this. So I was reading the other reviews people had about this and stuff on like Letterboxd, and it brings me back. Remember that point we made on La Belle Noire song, where I was like, I can just shit in a cup and have the cut be on the Pakistani flag, and people will be like, yo, this makes such a deep political statement, whatever. People can interpret whatever they want from things. It's all Stuart Hall, bro. It's all encoding, decoding. It's the most basic fucking media theory in the world, right? But what I decoded from this, I didn't really enjoy. Also, the gang rape thing, I'm never, you know, I don't like rape. Who does? But it's, you know what I mean, in the sense of like even on screen, but it has been done before, and proven to be done in a way where that story actually progresses. This didn't really do anything, and it was so excessively long, and all of the sex scenes in this film made me feel. I watched it at university as well, so I sat at university watching this. They were so long, and it was so annoying. But I did love his jumper though. I did think he had a really great jumper. Like, you know, he wears at the film. I did think I was looking at it. I was like, yo, where can I get on that? That's cozy as fuck.
Probably Uniqlo.
Yeah, probably. But not in that exact color. It's got that like, oh, I'm a real like broke boy color. Like I enjoyed it, but you see like people buy like a £500 version of his outfit now from like Gucci or something. Like it'd be crazy. And also crazy weird coincidence. The protagonist unnamed. I am the protagonist. Tenet. Yo, Nolan, you're not slick. You gotta stop stealing from Asian cinema, bro. I've said my piece on it, but yeah, that's how I feel. I love to hear what you guys have to say.
So, from a young age, I was always told if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say it. So, Simon, no, I'm joking. So, I liked a lot of the music. I thought some of the songs were quite like nice to listen to, and I thought the score was pretty good. And I agree with you about the visuals, but I thought it was awful.
Yeah.
I like you said, you can appreciate it as art. I'm the sort of guy, if I was to ever go to like an art show and you've got like traditional paintings of like a bunch of hills or a portrait of a person, then you've got the ones that just like splashes and then like you're not what stuff that's up for your interpretation. I'm the type of guy who's like, who's paying for that shit?
Jason Pollock, that's what you're on about?
Yeah, like he's talking about Jackson Pollock, bro.
Yeah, sorry, my bad, yeah. Jason.
I'm not the guy who's like, oh, I can see what it's going for. Like it's interesting. I'm like, I don't see what anyone sees in that.
We talked about that last week with the surreal. I was really interested in your thoughts on this because this was less surreal, to be fair.
Which is odd because I preferred last week a lot
Last
more.
It was a lot better.
Because even though I found the surreal bits took away from the overall film, there was a film in it.
Yeah.
For this, I think it was almost like a slice of life film. And I don't know about you, but you said you found it easy to follow and you found Trans-Earth easy to follow. I didn't, but I do think that's part of the language barrier. Even though I've got subtitles on, I find it hard to like follow like multiple stories if the film doesn't hold your hand at all.
The reason I find it easy to follow in the sense of like in comparison to I mean, I haven't really found any of the and Trans-Earth is probably the hardest to follow, but again, I don't know about Brazilian politics, and but even though the actual plot of the film was still A, B, C, you know what I mean? It still all made sense. I didn't understand the finer details. With this, I think because I saw Pastoral and I had an idea of his style, if I had gone into this one first and then into Pastoral, I wouldn't have been quite prepared. But with like Pastoral took like an hour before the director thing, before he showed up as like the future director. But that's not even really him. It's still just a character. Like, you know what I mean? When that version of him showed up, I knew that he likes to take his time before he like shows all of the cards. This film is literally just, it starts off with the guys addressing the audience, and there's points where other characters will look straight into the camera. But I did research on him. Like apart from this, he was like an experimental author who wrote like, I think a lot of his shit translates better to books, but he just made it into films. He's definitely a talented director. I'm not gonna shut that all. He's visually great, but
I looked him up as well. He started in poets, didn't he? Like in poems, sorry.
Poetry, and then he went into write, which makes sense because the things his films are like poems.
Yeah, it's not a style that's for me. And like you were saying about the rape thing, I've noticed a lot of these directors who try to do like surrealism and try to like do artistic
always
expression.
Throwing rape, and I think it's a lazy trope.
It's rape, and it's like exploiting the body. Like how many times did they have to like show nude people throughout this film? And they always do it, and it's lazy and it's exploitative. I find it quite disgusting, really.
This is what I mean. He's just putting it there to be like, ooh, subversive, and it's like, I don't know. I can see people who enjoyed this because it's like this stuff, like people will enjoy anything in it. You know what I mean? Yeah, but was it for me? I didn't like it.
And I looked up a lot of the reviews on Letterboxd, and anyone who did like it in the reviews uses words too big for my understanding.
Bro, man's are playing the dick flute solo, and it's just like the way they're doing it is trying to be like, no, you're stupid because you don't like it, and you're like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
But then when I say somebody you're stupid because they don't like Tenet, that's just fact. This is. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
But let me pass the floor over to Simon because
Yeah, I'd love to know what you think, Simon, because you were in the middle ground about surrealism last week, so I'm interested.
Yeah, but remember, I didn't like the film overall. So yeah, so like just to read my notes here, like for the first part, I wrote to summarize, it's wildly energetic. We see how it's interjected and whatnot with all these musicals. It's a rebellious film exploring youthful alienation, naivety, and idealism, a sort of attack on the established reality of filmmaking because it's not a normal film in that sense. Like it's very experimental, like you already said, and an attack of Japan in the 70s, suffering a brain drain as it enters an age of materialism like the rest of the world. So, yeah, go ahead.
Simon, are you gonna credit the person who review your
Now,
reading
this is
right
actually
now?
me. This is actually
Yeah,
me.
because I read through the Letterboxd comments today,
This is
and
actually me.
everything you're saying, it sounds very familiar to me. Down to this is an attack on the 70s.
Yeah, you don't see it.
No,
You don't see the attack on capitalism.
No, I see all of that shit and how it's attack on American values and how like everything's going westernized. But I also read all that stuff later in the Letterboxd comments.
That's normal when you watch film. You're bound to have
That's true.
same opinions. What the
You're
fuck?
right. Exact same phrasing too. Go on.
Okay.
he accidentally reads out who it's by.
He goes, yeah, my name's Susie Q and I live.
From my personal experience as a woman, I found this film.
I go on, sorry, Simon.
And so arguably even anti-capitalist, which we see towards the end when he's walking in the street and then he walks down that little alleyway and he starts talking about how when I was at school, I put the whole quote here. When I was at school, I picked up a little lizard in the park. I kept it in a Coca-Cola bottle. It grew too large to come out. A lizard in a Coca-Cola bottle. A lizard in a cola bottle. You don't have the strength to get out, do you, Japan? And that kind of summarizes the whole.
The cola bottle is America, bro.
Okay, I didn't see it like that. Yeah, okay.
No, because obviously American values, Coke, and that's what I meant with the American values thing. That shit was the anti-American sentiment. Like obviously they literally burned the American. Yeah, they literally. But no, but even then, it wasn't apparent at the beginning. It became apparent to me. Because I realized there was lots of like little like stuff. It's a very big American sport, like stuff like that, and it wasn't like super in your face. But the last hour of this film, everything that happens anti, like the guy comes in, American people love splitting their families up, and you're like, whoa.
And there's that lady as well when she's interviewed, that random lady, and she's talked about how they poo, what they read, your favorite book,
or like when his sister becomes his like mentor's mistress. Like that was his sister, right?
The one he takes, the one that got attacked in the toilet, in the shower.
Yeah, the shower, but she got attacked by him, but then she becomes his mistress later on, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he goes to her house and then like she's there and she's like staying there, but he's like American people do it all the time. He goes, American people do it all the time. Final rating for this. Do you remember what I gave Pastoral?
I think you gave it 3.5 originally. You might have dropped it down to 3.
I would probably give Pastoral a 2.5 now. Drop that down to 2.5. I'm giving this a 1.5. No, 1.
Simon?
No, 1.
Overall, I'm giving it 1.
For my rating, it's weird because usually I don't actually rate much stuff below 3 because I can watch a lot of like stuff that people would consider rubbish, but I can just enjoy it for what it is. Like, say, like the Fantastic Four movies, like The Rise of the Silver Surfer or whatever.
Fire. The first one's fire. Second one's a bit too overly dramatic, but the first one's fire.
I just remember those, like, they're critically panned, but I can enjoy them for what they are.
They're fun films.
But the only films I ever dislike are ones that are either boring or just not my cup of tea. And doing this list, I've had to watch a lot of films out my comfort zone that are just not my cup of tea. So these critically acclaimed films, I'm ending up giving them bad rating, and I feel bad. But Pastoral, I didn't hate, and I gave that 1.5. And I don't hate this film. But
you would rewatch it again?
Never. I'd never rewatch this. I would never rewatch Pastoral. I know I watched it again last week, but that's because I didn't. No. But that's because they worked so. These two films worked so.
You didn't watch it probably the first time. You just went and watched them 1.5.
Well, I didn't watch it 1.5. I didn't really watch it properly the first time, and even then, No, I watched it. But I was tired and I wasn't really paying attention. But also, these two work so closely in tandem. Like a lot of the aspects are similar. I don't know if that's in all of his work. I'm not even gonna go look and try and find out. I don't care. But
It's just style and themes.
I know. I no, but I mean, he employs similar techniques and stuff throughout them. I thought it was, yeah, that part's interesting. I give this a 1. You give this a 1. Kyle, what do you give it? Sorry, I know we've done. I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Yeah, I give Entranced Earth half a star.
I got that 0.
That was unwatchable.
Yeah, unwatchable film. That was terrible.
This is watchable, but I'd also give it half a star. You know.
I want to drop down to half because if I give Entranced Earth a 0, I gotta keep the same energy.
Yeah.
So Entranced Earth was a 2-pack of ass. This is a half-pack of ass.
Yeah.
And no joke. Yeah, because half of it's okay, other half's pack of ass. And Pastoral, I'm dropping that down to it too.
All right. Should we move on to the next segment? Who wants to go first? Has anyone watched anything this week?
I can go first, actually.
Right, then.
Yeah.
Have you actually watched film this week?
Yes, I
No,
did.
no way. No way.
I did actually, guys. I watched a bunch this week. Just to I will. Did I watch anything new this week? No, but I rewatched a bunch of stuff just based on sort of conversation and stuff we've been having. So first, okay, I'll start from the beginning. We'll go in. Actually, no, I did watch something new this week. I'll start from the beginning of the week. I'll just rank it off, right? I was supposed to watch Doctor Strange this week. Didn't get around to it because of just different things happened. I'm going to end up watching that in the next couple of days. I'm really excited to watch that. I haven't seen it in ages, excited. But what I did end up watching last Saturday was PVT Private Chat. Visually, very interesting what they do, actually. I like how it looked. A lot of masturbation, which I wasn't the biggest fan of overall. Because you see a lot of his cock and he's like going crazy. And you can tell he just wrote the film to be like, yeah, it's like the way he wrote it is just like a child fantasy.
You could say it's South masturbatory even.
Yeah.
You see.
He's redeemed himself for every bad joke he's ever told.
Honestly, he was doing so terrible and he's come back strong. He's got it written down, bro. He's ready to go.
Opinions don't mean shit, guys.
No, but I saw Joker again on Sunday. I had to watch it for my dissertation. And the thing with Joker is, and I realized it's taken me since 2019 to finally be able to articulate what I don't like about it. But when you watch a film in 0.5 speed, trust me, when you have to like go back and forth, you'll find out what the thing is. Here's what I don't like about Joker and why I don't think it's a good film. I can appreciate all the aspects of it, but here's why it's not a good film. Joker, the equivalent of Joker is you know when someone's going around, like, I got something to tell you, it's so important, I got something to tell you, and they build it, you're like, what you have to tell me? And they're just like, nothing. And then you're like, that's what Joker is. Joker just wants to position itself as a film that it has something to say, and it's so important, and you need to watch this. And we're not like any other film. We're so different. And it's not. And that's fine. It's fine that it has nothing to say. It just says, it's just like blah, 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 mental health. It's how white people act around, like, not you specifically, but it's how white corporations specifically, will be like, Black Lives Matter. Look at our guy here. His name is Joseph. They'll be like, yeah, we love Black Lives. That's that film with mental health. Joker's like, look at us. Mental issues. My opinions haven't changed on Joker. I just have a deeper understanding of it. Moving past Joker, this actually was what I really want to talk to you guys about. And you guys kind of you didn't put me on this, but you know that lovely discussion we had last week about the Cornetto trilogy. Kyle, you were talking about how you love The World's End, and that's the one I always least remember out of these films. So I just ended up watching it. I ended up watching it again. I think it's really well acted. I think it's really well done. I have a deeper appreciation for it. I might put it above Shaun of the Dead actually, but I haven't seen Shaun of the Dead in a while as well.
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz is my one. I love Hot Fuzz.
I watched They Live. Finally, after many years, on my watch list.
How is that? Because that's the 80s one, isn't it?
Basically, like, it's very 80s. Like, it's very camp in that sense. But I'm woke already, so it was like I wouldn't have had any trouble being in this story. I think I would have got it straight away. I think I would have survived.
We gotta make the sequel. They woke. They live. They woke.
Do you guys know what the story's about?
I've
seen I don't want to ruin it.
I know minimal, and I don't want to know because I'm going to watch it because the main actor's a professional wrestler. Like he's passed now, but it was Rowdy Roddy Piper.
King. Wait,
Well,
was They Live the one with
Thingy, black guy. That's the one you want to say, innit?
No, it's Keith David. The only reason I know that is because the Saints Row games.
Not from Greenleaf, the Great
No, no,
Showrunner.
no. I never watched Greenleaf. Saints Row. There's a whole level about where he has to go save Rowdy Piper. It's back when Rowdy Piper's still alive, because Keith David and them finally make up for like they had beef. The joke was they had beef after that film, and they're like, yeah, they live, and then you get the trophy that says they live. I played that game so many times. Yeah, it's a big mission.
Yeah. Shout out to Saints Row. Held us down.
Yo, those games are so great, and they don't get the credit they deserve because everyone thinks it's just a GTA clone. They're completely different.
let's finish off with the 4 recommendations. Can I go first this time? I don't think I ever go first.
Yes, please, Kyle.
Because I didn't have one ready before that, and I thought something would help me decide halfway through the podcast, and it didn't.
Oh, okay. I thought you had to pull out like some shit. And I was like, whoa. Right.
No. But I was thinking, one of my favorite films of all time and one of the best films of all time isn't in the 250 list, and I thought I would give it its due. I would say it's in the top 5 films of all time. It's in my top 10 favorites because I think there's a difference between best and favorite. It's 2010's The Social Network. I saw this at like a very young age, and I've mentioned a couple of times, there's been a lot of classics that I've watched at a young age and haven't been able to like appreciate. I appreciated this when I was young. This film made me feel smart when I was a kid. And I was like, have you seen the Facebook movie? Because that's what everyone thought it was.
Yeah.
When I was young, when I thought the Facebook movie, I was thinking like the Emoji Movie. Like, I didn't think it was about the making of it. I thought it was a Facebook film. And I don't know what that would entail, but that's what I thought. And I watched it, and it's just incredible. Like, there's nothing wrong with it apart from there's a cannibal in it. But apart from
I just clocked. I was like, who? Yeah. There's two cannibals in there, Kyle.
What's worse than one cannibal? So, and I think a lot of the producers have turned out to be scumbags. But apart from that, like,
another Harvey Weinstein classic.
Perfectly directed, perfectly acted. Jesse Eisenberg's incredible. Well, like, he's doing his usual stick, but
it's the best. It's the best performance, and that's because of that film. I was like, he could have been. That young people were like, he's gonna be a shit Lex Luthor. I was like, nah, he could do it.
And his Lex Luthor works for me. I know it doesn't for a lot of people because he is playing the same. Do you know he based that role on Max Landis? Did you know that?
Social Network or
no, Lex Luthor. He based it on Max Landis. Like,
you know what? Now that you say that, you know that scene where he goes, "You should not pick a fight with this." That's Max Landis, bro. Yeah. And the way he's like rude to women.
Yeah.
Yo, the way he like gives that woman a jar of pee. Max Landis.
Yeah. Back to The Social Network. Expertly directed. Eisenberg's incredible. Garfield was robbed of an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
That scene, obviously, it's quite basic to say that scene's iconic now. My Prada's at the cleaners.
Sorry, I left my
Prada. Sorry. He goes, sorry, I left my Prada at the cleaners along with my fuck you flip-flops.
I won't stay too long on the film because I think everyone knows how good it is. But I have a question for you. You know, we talked about Tyler Perry in Gone Girl, and that's like odd casting. And I thought Neil Patrick Harris was sort of out of place. What do you think of Justin Timberlake in this film?
I think it works.
He's like Ryan Reynolds to me when he acts. The same characters he plays. Maybe this last film is different. What's it called? Palmer, whatever. But in almost every film he plays, he's the same, archetype, if you will.
I think there's something inherently super, like, not scumbaggy, but like douchebag. There's something inherently douchebaggy about Justin Timberlake, and you see it. You see it in the stuff people say about him. Like, he's got this public persona where he's like, "Yeah, I'm the fun one, woo woo," and he does all this shit like that, right? But there's something inherently douchebaggy about him, like in everything people say about him, and how he is in interviews, and like just the way he conducted himself, Janet Jackson, Britney, and like and I like Justin Timberlake. I mean, I like his music, and I think it worked perfectly for this film. Like, you know, the same way we said it with Gone Girl, how Tyler Perry worked. I couldn't see anyone else doing that. I couldn't see anyone but just Timberlake doing this.
Yeah, I agree. No, because when I was younger, it felt out of place, and as I got older, I think because it's Justin Timberlake, it kind of takes you out of it a little, but just not like the moment where he's like, "My name's on the masthead," and he's like, "You might want to check again." I believe him when he says that.
He works perfectly as that character because everything about that character is like a cunt, but also, the whole scene where it's not even the masthead thing. It was when he's like sees that girlfriend he had or something, or like no, he's with like an underage girl or something.
Yeah.
You believe his skeeviness, like his whole thing is just like ugh.
And sometimes people can be like too cartoony and you don't believe it, but like you believe it with him.
Justin Timberlake has two legendary roles, and they both kind of came out back to back. It was that, and it's in Friends with Benefits.
Yeah.
And they went back to back. Stuff like where he's like doing like the serious role in Palmer, which I haven't seen it, but I'm assuming
he is good in Palmer. I have seen it.
But even then, it's like that's like the standard grow a beard, serious acting. You know what I'm saying?
You took my line. I'll put that in the group chat. My favorite genre of film is unlikely actor shaves his head and grows a beard, going for the Oscar. that's genre.
You're like, sorry, you made it a hot line. I made it a hot song. But like,
it's like the new one is like dye your hair bleach blonde. Like Garfield did it. Pattinson did it. Like a lot of people.
Riz Ahmed did it for Sound of Bell.
Oh shit, yeah.
He did get Oscar nominated just now.
He's the only one as well to do it, isn't he?
But his performance is supposed to be amazing in that.
I need to watch it so bad. But that's my
I've been hearing great things about it.
That's your third Sound of Metal joke.
I know, but it's the way I can do the drum afterwards, which makes me laugh. Riz understands. We're fellow Pakistani men.
My recommendation this week is I don't think Sharks watched it, I don't know, but I remember Kyle liked it. It's on Film Français. It's Raw, a body horror film from 2016, which I don't like. I don't know why I love this film so much. It's just so good.
It's a weekly show on a Monday. Professional WWE superstars. They all.
No, it's a weekly show. I know for a fact Simon's watched this film at one point in his life, at least weekly. He watched it a bunch of times. There was one point in your life, Simon, where you watched this film
again. Watching this,
again.
like back to like every a month or a week after. Yeah, it's so good. For those who don't know, I'll just read the synopsis because I'm not gonna.
Yeah, no spoilers, please.
Yeah, so Raw. In Justine's family, everyone is a vet and a vegetarian. At 16, she's gifted teen ready to take on her first year in vet school, where her older sister also studies. There, she gets no time to settle. Hazing starts right away. Justine is forced to eat raw meat. Not a penis. For the first time in her life.
I knew you were going to say not raw. I knew you were going to say not a penis.
There's that in the synopsis.
Yeah,
it says open bracket, not a penis.
Yes. For the first time in her life, unexpected consequences emerge as her true self begins to form. Like, honestly, you hear this and you don't expect like anything that happens in this film.
Can I ask, did you nominate this because of the the Army Hammer talk when we were talking about the Social Network?
You know what? I wasn't even focusing, so that makes it even better.
Look at that. Click.
Yeah, I wasn't even focusing what you got to say.
But you haven't seen it, have you, Shari?
I haven't. Simon's been trying to get me to watch it since 2016.
You would like it because it's one of those where it's like very.
It's the way he gasses it up to me every time. He's like, "Yeah, they eat people," and I was like, "Nah, yo." He goes, "It's very sexy." He goes, "It's super horny. They eat people," and the way he just every time, it's the way he describes it. Where I'm just like, I think he's listening to his favorite voice clip from the film right now. He's like, "Yeah, super horny."
Because what I like about it is it's one of those like dramas, but it doesn't take itself too seriously. Like,
is it super horny, Kyle?
Yeah.
At times, yeah, definitely. You get a sense of eroticism.
Because I haven't seen it since 2017. If I remember correctly, there's like this party scene that's all like one take and like that. It's just perfectly directed. And there's the one scene that everyone talks about when they watch it. I won't say it obviously if you haven't seen it, but great film. It is a great film. That's one of those, if you want to get outside your comfort zones, like that's in our wheelhouse, but someone who doesn't stray away from like mainstream films, they should watch it.
Is that going to show up on the list?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so now.
I don't know. We've had some shitters on the list already, so it might be nice to see something like,
We
you know what I
should
mean? Something that someone likes.
we should make our own list.
To make out.
People are like, Fantastic Four 1 isn't on this list. It is now.
Yeah. Yeah, we do like it. We do like it when he goes, and it makes a lighter noise.
Speaking of flame on, Sherrick, do you have a fire pick? You want to?
You know what?
Just keep getting better.
I do have a fire pick. That makes sense to you in a second. I'm gonna do what Kyle did here for a second, and this is a little bit more fun. My film came out in 2004. I don't know if it's on the list. I don't think it is. It was the first film I ever saw in cinemas. Just to give you an idea. Just give you an idea. And
Chicken Run?
this film is just fantastic.
I know what it is.
Meet the Robinsons.
I've seen it, and I think it's incredible personally.
Guy, I tried to throw you off. I was gonna say incredible, but still on the nose. I threw you off. It's fantastic. He just Kyle's such a Fantastic Four fan. He's like, that came out 2005, June 10th. Okay, so the film is Incredibles. You are correct. This is the first film I ever watched in cinemas, and it's one of my favorite films of all time. Not even just one of my favorite Pixar films, one of my favorite films of all time. It's endlessly watchable, and I know I say that all the time about films, but like, man, you have to be able to watch this shit. You have to be able to enjoy the film. It's got so much heart. It's the best Fantastic Four film. You know what I mean?
That's oversaid, but yeah, I agree.
It is oversaid, but it's like the fact Fantastic Four at its core is looking at this like family with superpowers and how they do all their shit, right? This is the best version of the family superpowers sort of trope. It's a very realistic look at marriage, weirdly enough, about how stuff can like come between. Since you got to spice things up, and that hasn't affected me in my own marriage, but I think it might for other people.
Everyone says the film's like encapsulated in. There's a scene where they're in the like RV at the end, and they're like there's these superpowered beings. They're like, take this lane, it'll get us there quicker. It's like, no, I go there every day for work. We need to take this lane. Like the argument is like such a normal conversation, but elevated because of.
But see, the thing is, I think they balance all the tones in that film so well. So you've got all the family shit, but the superhero shit is never taken away or like cut off. The end fight feels like a big superhero fight. I think it does it better than some of even like, you know, the bigger like superhero fights that we see in films now. Like
One Division fight, like
I like that, but I understand that's a different. I mean, in the sense of like the big city-wide big block. I think the end fight in this is better than the end fight in Avengers.
I don't agree with that.
They keep everything contained. Frozone is one of the coolest guys ever. He was my favorite. I love everything about it. I love even like the stuff, you know, at the end where Dash is like running and they're like, no.
Also, sorry, you was on about how like it's adult. Like the film's about like a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Like
And he wants to go back to his glory days. Listen, this is better than the world's end. Like he wants to go back to his glory days. I love the score on this. Like the Michael Giacchino, whatever. You know who I'm talking about. He's so good. He did Mission Impossible 4 as well, I think. And he's just so good at those like the string. He's so good at the strings when he like, gives you that like adventurous emotion that he brings. This is how he does the strings like it's so don't Photoshop anything in there. It's so good. You know, don't Photoshop. When he goes,
don't Photoshop anything.
Don't Photoshop anything in here. When he goes, no, it's so good. And it's like, oh man, I love the bit. I like you know, you just love something from the very first frame to the very last. Even the end credits are gorgeous with all like the artwork and everything. The beginning of him in his blue costume and his incredible bill. And what does he call himself originally? Syndrome, like Jet Lad. He has a shit Incredible Lad. He goes, I'm Incredible
Incrediboy. And obviously like he just calls him Buddy or whatever.
Yeah, listen, get out the car, buddy. And he goes, Buddy. And then even the callbacks, Buddy. Like everything about this film is so good. And even the older you get, the more you can appreciate. There's loads of like little things you might not realize when you're a bit younger. Like the stuff with I forgot her name now, but you know the white-haired sister and the tension with like with the tension. Elastigirl, even it's surprisingly feminist as well. You know what I mean? Especially for a film that came out like 2004, it pushes good message. And it's a film that I think because it has that sort of nuclear family aspect to it, and even the look of everything is kind of like old school, and like the vibe is very like a retro, still forward leaning. It's so good and it's so well done. The sequel is great as well. I do think Incredibles 2 does hold up. I think it's a good film. But that first one, there's just something about it. I love that film so much.
So yeah, I agree. But let's go for a group recommendation. And oddly enough, one film has came up in like every segment. You could say it's come up 4 times.
It's very fantastic that you're gonna say this, Kyle.
Yeah, so should we put The Incredibles in there twice? No. Should we go Fantastic Four? You know what's odd? Like, they are cheesy and they are dated and like they're not great, but they are great at the same time.
The reason I don't like the second Fantastic Four, I really love the first one. The second one I don't like as much. Is because they tried too hard to be serious about it, and also they introduced Galactus at the end, and it was like a cloud. It never made no sense to me. If they'd done the giant purple man, that would have been sick. It would have fit with the style they had. The first one's amazing because Doctor Doom is so. His whole thing is like, oh, I'm so scarred and ugly, but he's such a handsome dude, and he's got one small blemish on his face, and even the blemish is like metal. It looks hard as fuck. And the wild part about the blemish is if you rip off his face, is it all just metal? That's the implication.
It's questions like that why we love this film.
Bro, this film is so good. He was a great Johnny Storm as well, Chris Evans.
I prefer him in that because I've never liked Captain America as a character. So when I see him, I'm like, just play, come back as Johnny Storm. That dynamic between him and Ben Grimm is like a lot of fun.
Ben Grimm has the funniest. That's practical effects. That suits practical effects.
Yeah,
and I fucking love it. I'm so glad it's not CG because the CG always looks so ass. The practical effect, it looked like he was out of a comic book, bro. It was because the whole thing is made out of like orange rocks. It's so. My man's trying to be like, yes, but is he not like Frankenstein's monster? Yeah, shut up, man. He's the ever-loving blue-eyed thing. It's clobbering. When he says it's clobbering time. Hey, what?
I actually remember like his arc being actually good. Like
really emotional.
Like he's at the bar or whatever, and like he sees the girl.
He always wears his like hiding outfits. Always the same that he wore in the comics. It's the trench coat and the giant hat, and then but it's always open chested.
And also a hot take. You know, people always like this guy was born for this role. I've never agreed with that because people are like Hugh Jackman was born to play Wolverine. If that's the case, he wouldn't be as tall as he would. He would have been born in Canada. But like he's perfect in the role, like when he plays it. And like Wolverine's almost been molded in Hugh Jackman's image. But I think in Fantastic Four, the guy who plays Reed Richards is almost perfect casting.
Every single person who's cast in this film, you know what you asked me? You asked me recently, and you were like, who would you cast as your MCU Fantastic Four?
Yeah.
I could obviously say John Krasinski, Emily Blunt for Reed, and I could say that for Invisible Woman, Sue Storm. But, bro, I could not think of anybody but Michael Chiklis for the thing. I was like, bring back Michael Chiklis. I was like, that was the most perfect casting. Jessica Alba was perfect as Sue Storm. And honestly, as a child, she did too much to me. I don't want to get into right now. But,
yeah.
Like, how did they mess up with Miles Teller, Rooney Mara's sister? I think it is. I don't know.
Kate Mara is Kate Mara.
Yeah, I was going to say Chadwick.
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. Like, how did they mess up so bad?
They tried to make that film way. The problem with that is, right, Fantastic Four is fun. Like, anytime people try... No, Fantastic Four, the characters can be serious, but you always got to remember, like, the best writers in Fantastic Four remember that the shit's fun as well. Nobody ever has like a dark and gritty take on Fantastic Four because it doesn't work. Some people have done it like in the Ultimate Universe, and that's just ass. There's a reason that universe got ate up by Galactus. There's like a whole like it got fucking collision course and shit. They only kept Miles Morales. They didn't keep any of the other people, right? Apart from the Reed Richards because he was made like a bad guy and shit. I'm going too deep in my comic nerd shit, but the fucking bro, the film is fun. Like first and foremost, I feel where he's like doing skiing tricks. He's like, he gets out of the hospital. She's like, you're hot, like really hot. He's like, yeah, come see me on the slope. And she just shows up and he like burns up. Oh, he does like, or they become like celebrities, and he enters in motocross BMX.
And he gets sponsorships on his uniform.
Yeah, and like burns them off anyway.
What's mad? We recommended all these quality films. So why do I want to watch Fantastic Four tonight?
Bro, it's the best film. Like, it's so good.
And on that uplifting note, I feel like that's where we should end it. Thank you everyone for watching. It's been 10 episodes. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as we all have.
Fuck, it's almost 10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, 10 episodes. And all three of us are 10 out of 10. I've been Kyle.
Your boy, Fantastic She's.
And
So.
we've been the CineLads, and we hope you've enjoyed.
And then you gotta play the Fantastic Four music to carry us out.
Or the Barry theme and then cut.
We've been the CineLads.